Andy, you know, I want to move to the place where we see this quote unquote joke move from joke to center stage at a presidential debate in 2020 with Donald Trump and then candidate Joe Biden. Given the opportunity multiple times over to denounce white supremacy, to detach himself and his administration from white supremacy, Donald Trump says the infamous, now infamous, stand back and stand by to both the Proud Boys and to the Oath Keepers. I want to understand, as I'm certain that you lay out, but for our audience, how do we get from jokes to the White House and in seemingly such a short period of time?
Right. Well, you know, first of all, the Proud Boys have been on a 6-year parade of violence. I mean, the tongue-in-cheek nature that Gavin gave only serves to sort of put this joking tongue-in-cheek veil in front of everything. But they have been involved in so many acts of political violence over the years, including Unite the Right, which most people don't know. A Proud Boy was the organizer, and Donald Trump, of course, didn't rebuff that. He said there were very fine people on both sides of the Nazi rally. But the Proud Boys' ability to sort of normalize this political violence came with, as they were committing these acts of violence, they were sidling up to upper echelon of the GOP. I mean, they have friends in Donald Trump's inner circle, including Roger Stone. And on top of that, they have a support network behind them of all these media pundits, including Tucker Carlson and far-right loudmouths like Tim Pool and all these folks. And so those relationships help them normalize the political violence up to this point. Now, Donald Trump didn't rebuff them, and the GOP has never rebuffed them because they love them. They've positioned themselves as soldiers for Trump. They are out there since day one fighting for Trump, and Trump is giddy about this. He fucking loves it, right? And so as we got to that point, you can argue that Trump didn't intend to activate them, or that Trump can't put together a frigging sentence to save his life. But it doesn't matter. The Proud Boys took that as marching orders. One of their own published a blog immediately following that titled "This is Civil War." They started gathering money and supplies and equipment to go to the Capitol. January 6th was seen as their last stand for Trump. And so the going forward, you know, obviously they had an outsized role in January 6th, but going forward, the GOP's inability to push back any of this stuff has only served to grow our extremist forces in the street. I mean, these guys are excited about their ability to walk around unimpeded right now.
You know, you said the GOP, but in the book, and, you know, I've been watching the Proud Boys, and each time this happens, Danielle and I talk about it often on the show. We're like, what would happen if Muslims or black folks were doing this? And the conclusion is chalk lines. There'd be chalk lines in funerals.
Yeah.
You know, I had forgotten about the Charlottesville role, but it was in your book. But then you also mentioned how they were openly doing this in Portland in the Northwest. Like, they used to come out and aggressively, with the intention to commit violence, and they used to intimidate folks. And the cops oftentimes, and we've seen the videos, Andy, cops kind of just chill. Sometimes they give them fist bumps. What's the role of law enforcement in enabling, or, if you will, supporting, wink, wink, the Proud Boys over the past 5 years?
Right. Well, the thing I bring to the table for this book is that I've been a ground level extremism reporter since the rise of Trump. So I was there watching as this happened, and so many times, I mean, especially in places like Portland that are supposed to be these liberal strongholds, police would, you know, I remember one specific event where there were Proud Boys on one side of the highway, and there were a gathering of counter-protesters on the other side, many of them just locals who didn't want the extremists to be in town. Between them on the highway is a line of armored police who are standing with the Proud Boys at their back, Proud Boys holding Blue Lives Matter flags and cheering on the police as they shoot munitions into the crowd. one of
Wow.
My colleague Christopher Mathias was on the Antifa side, or the local side, I should say, and he watched as police shot a tear gas canister into the crowd. It lodged itself into a guy's helmet. He'd be dead right now without that helmet. And he was like screaming at police to stop, and they were laughing. And you know, this scene played out time and time again at different rallies. One of the issues is that, you know, police are just automatically going to side with the people who are on their side, which is not how policing should go. You should be helping the people who are being invaded by extremists who have admitted that all they want to do is fight and waste the city's money, right? But two is often police are involved. Proud Boys.
I was going to say, I'm like, didn't we just see a leaked list of 38,000 members of the Proud Boys? And I believe, if off the top of my head I'm right, we had 100 active military that were a part of that list.
Oath Keepers.
You had close to, was it the Oath Keepers?
Yeah. But
I'm like, but still, there is always this again, when we talk about things being interwoven, this goes back to slave patrols and the advent of policing. That it has never been about, the taxpayers. It's about white people protecting white people and white property.
100%.
And what I want to understand, Andy, is that while they're holding Blue Lives Matters, you know, flags and signs in Portland, they were beating the hell out of them in the insurrection, right? You had not one Republican come out and talk and thank the Capitol Police and the DC Metropolitan Police for saving their asses, right? And so I want to understand how then, you know, you had this turn of events on January 6th where these supposed Blue Lives Matter, you know, folks then go ahead and weaponize the American flag and anything that they can get their hands on and kill one police officer and brutalize countless others.
And there were members of the Proud Boys who were also active duty police officers in the insurrectionist crowd. I mean, these people are not loyal. Leading up to January 6th, the Proud Boys stopped feeling like they were getting enough protection from police because of the arrest of Enrique Tarrio prior to that, and a number of stabbings that occurred at rallies in D.C. that they held. And they're not loyal at all. They will turn on you if they don't feel like they're getting the support that they had. But again, I think you're right to say that you know, there's an inherent embrace that happens here between law enforcement that we absolutely still have to root out. And you know, a lot of people ask me if this is our new Klan walking around, and it's like there's absolutely comparisons to be made. And you know, the Klan had inroads in law enforcement and politics and media, but you have to remember that the Klan didn't lose all of its power because people rebuffed them. It's that the whole country shared that ideology to the point where they were kind of unneeded as a force. And so that's the fear going forward, because you have so many elements that are on their side. I mean, when Donald Trump was president, you know, having all of BLM and all of Antifa are terrorists and they are the enemy of the people, you're going to have the forces and you know, sending federal agents out to disappear protesters in the street. You can see why it was so easy for police to fall into that, but that hasn't changed now that we have a new president. And you know, police departments, even worse, because it's not illegal to be a Proud Boy. Police departments often don't do anything when they find out they have a Proud Boy in their ranks. So we have such a huge culture shift to go through to stomp out this problem, because it's again looking a lot like the Klan did in the 1920s.
You know, Andy.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, go ahead, Danielle.
I was just going to say, it just, you know, when you just said it's not illegal to be a Proud Boy, my like my eyes light up again, because I'm like, oh, that's right. Because we don't even have laws on the books in this country about domestic terrorism. Because terrorists we only consider terrorists people that look like me and Waj, right?
Yep.
As a law, your increase in melanin makes you a terrorist, right? And so the fact is that we could very readily put the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, the 3 Percenters, all of these people in their place if we did what the Southern Poverty Law Center has done and labeled them a fucking hate group and a terrorist organization and wipe them out. Right. But when we get intel, like what was given to the FBI, they decide to shelve that and decide that they're going to open up a department that's going to investigate Black extremism.
Right.
Tell me how many Black cops we have that are in law enforcement, sitting in politics, that are the ones that are wielding power right now. You know, with the mindset of Black supremacy, whatever bullshit that comes out of the Republicans' mouths.
Yeah, you know, it's such an interesting conversation with the domestic terrorism statute, because I spoke to an FBI agent who was like, you know, based on Trump's actions, I don't know if we want one of those, because if Trump declared Antifa terrorists, which was a total empty gesture, but what if it wasn't? What if he decided to start pointing out Antifa people in the street, and those people will be behind bars? But obviously, law enforcement has tools on its belt to be able to prosecute these things, because they're prosecuting activists and anti-fascists and Black Lives Matter activists all the time for RICO and all these other things. So there's certainly that we have the tools to go after groups like this, and we're just not doing it.